Alright, welcome back to part 2 of unit rates involving ratios and fractions. For this problem, a recipe to make diluted cleaning solution calls for 4 gallons of water mixed with 1/3 cup of cleaner. The ratio of gallons of water to cups of cleaner is a 4 to 1/3 ratio, and they have it written two different ways. They have 4 to 1/3 there using the word, and 4 to 1/3 using a colon. You can also write it as a fraction, which we will learn eventually. You have 1 cup of cleaner and you want to use all of it. How many gallons of water do you need for the mix with 1 cup of cleaner to maintain a 4 to 1/3 ratio? To find the unit rate, the number of gallons of water needed to mix with 1 cup of cleaner, you can use a number of different strategies. First off, they've got a double number line. In the double number line, you can see that they have broken it down into 1/3 cup sections. You have 4 gallons of water to 1/3 cup of cleaner. That meant you had 8 gallons of water to 2/3 cups of cleaner, and finally you get 12 gallons of water to 1 whole cup of cleaner. As a result, we can say that 12 gallons of water are needed in order to mix 1 cup of cleaner. That is one of the methods you can use. That's a good way to show your work. No matter which method you end up using, you have to show quality supporting work if you want to get credit. Here's another example. In this one, they use a bar diagram in order to figure it out. You have the original setup where you had 4 gallons of water to 1/3 cup of cleaner, and then you just kept adding 1/3 cups until you got the 1 whole cup of cleaner. Likewise, you kept adding your 4 gallons until you had a total of 12 gallons to match your 1 cup of cleaner. This is another form of showing your work. This method is called using a bar diagram. Another perfectly good approach. It's more towards the elementary than what we're going to be doing in middle school this year, but it is a really good approach to know how to do. There's also the ratio table, and the ratio table is getting closer to what I like to use when I solve my problems. For the ratio table, they set it up with 1/3 cup of cleaner to 4 gallons of water. And they said, well, we want 1 whole cup of cleaner right here. So what do I multiply 1/3 by in order to get it to 1? Well, the answer was 3. So they did times 3 on the top. This is part of showing your work. And if you do it on the top, you have to do the same times 3 on the bottom to get the 12 gallons of water. Another good method of showing your work. So now we've covered the double line graph, we've covered the bar graph approach, and now we're looking at using a ratio table. So far we have 3 different ways that you can show your work to solve your problem. And now we're finally getting into the big kid way of doing this. And in the big kid way of doing that, they have taken the 4 to 1/3 ratio and they have written it as a fraction. Now don't let your little hearts go pitter-patter, because there's all kind of stuff thrown on the page right now. Yes, I know that they just dumped a lot on the page. Slow your little heart down. We are going to work this step by step on a separate spot so that you can see how to do it. So here we go. We've got a complex fraction that they've given us, and something you need to remember about fractions is a fraction is nothing more than a division problem that has not been solved yet. So instead of doing 4 over 1/3, let's rewrite this as a division problem, 4 divided by 1/3. Now that should look familiar. We've done some of these. We're going to change that to 4 over 1 divided by 1 over 3. So now I have my improper fractions. And then we're going to do the keep, change, flip thing, or keep, change, depending on who your elementary teacher was. 4 over 1, I'm going to change division and multiplication, and I'm going to take the reciprocal of the second number. When I do that, 4 times 3 is going to equal to 12. 1 times 1 is going to equal to 1. So how many cups or how many gallons of water is it going to take to get 1 cup of cleaner? The answer to that is going to be 12. And you can see that that is exactly what they did here. They started with the original problem. They made it an improper fraction. They did their keep change flip, and then they simplified their answer. So 4 over 1/3 is equal to 12, and therefore the unit rate is going to be 12 gallons of water for every 1 cup of cleaner. Let's move on to our last slide in this section. How is finding a unit rate when one of the quantities is a fraction similar to finding a unit rate when both quantities are whole numbers? How is it different? Well, either way it's going to be similar because you're going to take and divide the top and bottom number by your bottom number. Now, we didn't really do it this way on this one. We just showed you how dividing the top number is going to, bottom number into the top number works. But in reality, we actually divided the top and bottom number by the bottom number. Let me show you. So, we're going to take and scroll up a little bit here, and we're going to take and start our original problem again, 4 over 1/3. Only now, I'm going to divide the top by 1/3 and the bottom by 1/3, and this time I'm going to keep my units. So I've got water and I've got cleaner, and we'll just call that W and C from here on out. Now 1/3 divided by 1/3, how many times does 1/3 go into 1/3? It goes into it 1 time. So now you get 1 cup of cleaner, and on the top we're going to have 4 divided by 1/3. Well, that is exactly what you see going on up above. We divided 4 by 1/3, which gave us 12 gallons of water. And now you have a solid ratio of 12 gallons of water to 1 cup of cleaner. Now, I'm not looking for you to know how to do that part right now, but what I am looking for you to be able to do is be able to create this part that you see right here. For our new example, Tia is painting one side of her shed. She paints 36 square feet in 45 minutes. At this rate, how many square feet can she paint in an hour? Well, we've got to examine what it actually asks. It says that she does 45 minutes, and 45 minutes is 3/4 of an hour. Therefore, we could change that 45 into 3/4, and that's going to make our problem a whole lot easier. Otherwise, we would have had to divide 36 by 45 and then multiply the answer we got there by 60. We don't want to do that. We want to be able to do this in one simple problem. So, let's look at our options. We could take and use a bar diagram like you have here, and in the bar diagram we know that in 45 minutes, also known as 1/4, 2/4, 3/4 of an hour, she painted 36 square feet. So since we have the 3/4 of the hour divided into 3 sections of 1/4, we also have to divide the 36 square feet into 3 sections, and the 36 divided by 3, that is going to be 12 in each one of those. From here, we just had to add 1 more quarter hour to get a whole hour. We're also going to add 12 feet on the bottom to get a total of how many feet? Well, the distance is going to equal to what? You need to take and put in an answer there and check it and see what you get, if you're right. Alright, did you solve it? The answer is going to be 48, I do believe. I'm going to check my answer, and that one is correct. Excellent. So now we get to move on to our next slide. Using a double number line. Once again, you're going to solve the problem. Same problem again. Only this time, we are going to be using the next button to scroll through how things work on the double number line. Now, you've got your hours listed on top, your square feet listed on the bottom, and when we hit our next button, we can see that 3/4 of the hour was 36 square feet. And then they have it broken down 1/4, 2/4, and 1 whole hour. With that information, they're able to say, well, what's 1/4 of, excuse me, if I was to take and divide, since I had 3/4, if I divide it by 3, then I would end up finding that 1/4 of the hour was going to equal to 12. I could double that to get 2/4 of the hour is equal to 24, and I could multiply that by 4 to find that 1 whole hour, also known as 4/4 of the hour, is going to equal to 48. Another perfectly good way to solve the same exact problem. So we've done the bar diagram, now we've done the double number line. What do you think is going to be next? Next is going to be the ratio table. For the ratio table, they are comparing the number of hours on top to the number of square feet on the bottom. Now the first thing they did is they said, well, we know that you've got 3/4 of an hour is equal to 36 square feet. And then they wanted to know from there, all right, how much is 1/4 of an hour going to be? To find that out, they took and, they just big old jump there, divided by 3 top and bottom. And this is going to be part of showing your work. You're going to need to show me this, divide by 3, divide by 3. And at that, they ended up getting 12 square feet here. Now, we didn't want to know how much 1/4 of an hour was. We wanted to know how much 1 whole hour was. To go from 1/4 to 1 whole, what do you have to multiply by? It's going to be 4. And if you do it on the top, you have to do it on the bottom. And that's what you see here. And you need to show that work. Times 4, times 4, so I know where your answers are coming from. If all you do on your homework is plug in a bunch of numbers and you don't justify how you got them, I am going to reject it and make you do it over for me again. Moving to the next example. Alright, for this one, they're going to use my preferred method of solving these problems, where they're going to be using division. They're going to take that 36 feet squared and divide it by the 3/4 hour. Now it's kind of hard to see what they're doing there, so let's take and come off to our scratch paper, and we're going to clear our board, and we're going to work that out on our own. So we've got it set up to where we have got 36, did an F instead of a 6, 36 divided by 3/4. That's the same thing as saying 36 divided by 3/4. And from there, we're going to change that 36 to an improper fraction, put in a 1 under it. Then we're going to do the keep change flip. So I got 36/1, change division and multiplication, take the reciprocal or flip the second number. Now we're going to simplify. 3 goes into 3 once, 3 goes into 36 12 times, and we're going to multiply. 12 times 4 is 48, 1 times 1 is 1, and that just means your final answer is going to be 48. Now if we go back to the actual page, when you hit your next button, you're going to see that's exactly what they did. They divided 36 by 3/4. They changed 36 into an improper fraction, 36/1. They did the keep change flip, and then they divided it out and simplified their answer. So any way you do it, how many square feet is it going to paint? Can Tia paint in 1 hour? 48 is going to be our answer. Hit our check button. It checked right. We are good to go on to slide number 6 in this set. For our talk about it, compare the 4 methods. What operations did you use with each of the methods? Well, it doesn't really matter which one you use. You still had to be able to understand the concepts of division and the concepts of multiplication in order to get to your final answer. I thought the last one was going to be your easiest approach. All of them are perfectly good approaches. I'm not a big fan of the double line, number line, or the bar graph, because those are just kind of work intensive. I prefer to work with numbers. But if the others work good for you, go for it. Now the checks don't usually work here, so we are going to move on to our next resource and see what it says. Now this problem is all about you. I want you to read the problem, pause it, and try, or pause the recording, solve the problem and check your answer. Need some help? Right here there's a need help section where it says to find how many square yards Mr. Garcia needs per hour, you need to simplify a complex fraction 3 over 2/3. Well, the 3 obviously came from his square yards, but where on earth did the 2/3 come from? The 2/3 came from what part of an hour 40 minutes is. There's 60 minutes in an hour, which gives you 40 over 60, and 40 over 60 simplifies as 2/3. Pause the recording, solve the problem. So as we discussed before, the 40 minutes, oops, let me change here. There's 60 minutes in an hour, so 40 over 60 is going to be the 40 minutes as a fraction. And if I divided by 20 over 20, I would get 2 over 3. That's where the 2/3 is going to come from. Now, I'm going to set it up to where I have 3 yards divided by 2/3 of an hour. You can rewrite that as 3 over 1 divided by 2 over 3. That, of course, means we're going to keep the first number, change division multiplication, and take the reciprocal of the second number. Nothing's going to simplify here. Multiply that out. 3 times 3 is going to be 9. 1 times 2 is going to be 2. Which means in the end, let's go over here and do some scratch work. First number goes in the house. 2 goes into 9 4 times. 4 times 2 is 8. 9 minus 8 is 1. That gives me 4 and 1/2. So my answer is 4 and 1/2 hours, also known as 4.5. Now I'm thinking that we're going to have to put that in as a decimal here. How many square yards is he going to need? 4.5 square yards. Oh, no, wait a minute. We can put it as a fraction. So put it as a fraction. We're going to type in our 4. We're going to hit our fraction bar. 1. Oh, no, that's not where that 1 went. We're going to use my arrow keys to get where I need to be. 1 over 2. And we're going to hit the accept. Now we're going to check our answer. Our answer checked. We got the right answer here. Very good. Let's keep moving. Okay, that's about enough for the part 2 video. We're going to stop it now. We're going to come back in part 3 here in the next video, and we're going to say that Josiah can jog 5/6 of a mile in 15 minutes. What is his average speed in miles per hour? Come back and see what answers we get, and it's going to be, well, maybe not exciting, but at least you'll learn something.